All right, we should be live. We are live. So let me send this out to the Discord real quick. But today we are going to go over drum patterns. We're going to cover trap, EDM, reggaeton, Afrobeat, drill. We're going to cover, what else did I say here? Rage beats. All right, house music. So we're going to cover pretty much every genre and everything you need to know to get started. So let me let the Discord know we're live. We are live for the drum patterns masterclass. If you want to hop in our Discord, it's completely free. Just go to discord.gg/busyworksbeats. We have 126,000 people in here. We're the fastest growing Discord for music production. We're almost number 1, so keep inviting your friends. But let me let everybody know we're live so I can get started. Just got to do a little audio check for one. So, okay, audio works. All right, so this will be pretty straightforward in terms of a masterclass today. So I want to thank you guys for supporting us and showing love and sharing with your friends. October and November, I do appreciate that. All right, so here's our Discord. We have, let me see the new count here. We have 126,777 people in here. So come join us. Again, we're the fastest growing Discord for music production. All right, so without further ado, let's hop into FL Studio. So we're going to use FL Studio because most people use it. You could do the same concepts in any DAW. All right, so firstly, to get started, let's cover reggaeton. So reggaeton needs very specific drums. They are very, what's the word? Very like driven sounds. They're very like hard sounds, meaning they're not menial by any means. So firstly, they got these like stab sounds. Okay, so you could use these. And we want, so these are in a different language. So bombos, I guess, is kicks. So let's do hard kick. And you could also try soft kicks, but these don't really poke out as much. I'll try this one. And what's most important though is the snare. So I think it's called golpes, if I'm not mistaken. You know, I don't know Spanish like this. This is a different level of language. So under percussion, go to golpes. And then we have the snares. All right, so this kit by MYMBA is definitely the best kit I've heard for reggaeton. Okay, so now we have that. Let's switch out the BPM for a danceable BPM. Let's turn the metronome on. And we want to be a danceable genre. So you want to go slow enough to where people can follow the rhythm. So 100 BPM is a safe start for reggaeton. Let me just do a double check real quick. Make sure you guys can actually, okay, you guys good? Can you guys hear the audio? Can you hear audio? Just want to make sure before I just go all the way in. But I appreciate you guys. The purple glitch is here. Oh yeah, we'll do R&B as well. How to forget R&B? We'll do R&B as well. Juris is here. We got produced by, how you say it? Pradi Snek. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Gene T is here. What up? Smelly is here. Malu Beats is here. Malu Beats. We got Juris in here. We got the John Show. Okay, you can hear me? Okay, cool. Sippy Beats is here. What up? Russell's here. Pipe God. Russian Letters Production. I don't know how to pronounce your name. You said Crunk. I don't know if we're going to get into Crunk today. I can't say that I study Crunk that much. Just wanted to make sure that you guys could hear. And I guess I'll even put down 2000s like Timbaland style with the spread snare. So we have a lot to cover today. So I'm going to be pretty simple and straightforward. So not only am I going to show you the rhythms, I'm going to show you where to find the sounds. Whereas most people just kind of skip over that part. So with reggaeton, we're going to do kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, snare. But what it truly is tresillo. You're going to hear me use this term all the time. You're like, how do you spell tresillo? It's T, let me spell it over here. So here's how you spell tresillo. Tresillo, tresillo. It basically, in technical speak, it's, what is it, 1/8 dotted notes or something like that. So technically it's all 1/8 dotted notes, but that's not a cool word to use, so we call it tresillo. So tresillo, 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 like that. Triplets is different, and I need to write that down too. Triplets is when you go 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. It's like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. Actually, that's tresillo, tresillo, tresillo. So triplets is a little bit different, where you split things up into threes evenly. So it's like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, like that. Whereas tresillo has a bounce to it. It's like tresillo, tresillo, dum 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 dum. Whereas triplets is dum 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 dum. Think of like a horror film or like a orchestra. So that's what triplets are used for most of the time, is orchestra stuff, or like honorable C note might use it on some hi-hats for trippy red or something. Okay, so now we have the understanding of what tresillo is. Let's start mapping out the pattern. I forgot to turn my keyboard off. All right, so it's kick, snare, but underneath the hood, the pattern is actually tresillo. And once you understand this pattern, you will unlock every genre. That's all you need to understand is tresillo. All right, so it's kick, snare. So keep the metronome on when you guys are learning new patterns. Now you could do boom, ta, boom, ta. Now this is called 4 to the floor kick, meaning that it hits every time the metronome hits, the kick hits. So it's like boom, 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 boom. But not every reggaeton pattern needs you to add a kick every single downbeat. So what we're actually creating, if you guys take away the kick, is this a tresillo pattern. So it's tresillo. So let me show you guys what I mean. So firstly, focus on this right side here. It's that boom, ta, boom, ta. That's tresillo. Because if I replace the kick with the snare, it's tresillo. And some people make beats like this where it's just a snare and a kick supporting. Now for this type of vibe, if you're gonna have the snare go all the way through, you're gonna do 4 to the floor kick most of the time. That's the bounce. That's in hip hop, that's in trap, that's in Afrobeat, that's in drill. That is the bounce. It's called tresillo. So that's what adds the bounce to you guys' beats. Once you understand tresillo, everything unlocks. You have unlocking to any genre pretty much. Okay, so let's get into the nuance of reggaeton, which is to, like I already kind of showed you guys. So we could switch up the snare. So we could do more of a rim snare and then more of a tonal snare. So now you get this kind of call and response thing. So all we're doing is just using a different sample. Now let's go back to that bass tone. Okay, you could just interject these. Usually they're unsyncopated. So the syncopation is when you turn your metronome on and you count. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, syncopation is when you count on the ands. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's an in-between space. So this is usually where jumpy notes like this bass. Dun dun. And they might contrast with the downbeat, but really it's, if you take away the downbeat, it's still syncopated on this note. So they might give it a tone. I'm just kind of throwing notes together. All right, boom. And if we want more activity, let's switch out the kick to every other kick. So now we have 2 different snares, 2 different kicks, but it's doing the same exact purpose. The kick is playing 4 to the floor, boom, 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 boom. And the snare is playing tresillo, just omitting that first note. Now that's how you create variation in this genre. You don't always have to use the same boom, ta, ta, boom, ta, ta every single time. You can switch it up like I just showed you guys. Pretty simple once you understand the concepts. Now let's move into EDM. So the reason I'm covering these cultural genres is because once you understand the parallels between these, you can apply this to any subgenre or any style of genre in the mainstream. All right, now let's go to Serum. The reason we're using Serum is because EDM tends to program their rhythms inside of the actual synth, whereas in hip hop, we program it by the MIDI notes. In EDM, they might program it inside the actual synth. So I'm going to show you guys how to create the same tresillo bounce, but inside of Serum. So I want to credit, I think it was EDM Mixing Tips or EDM, man, I should have had his name ready to go. But it's a guy, he is slimmer in the face and he has like pointy, spiky hair kind of. And he gives out, I think it's called EDM Mixing Tips. That's his channel. Forgive me, guy, I should have wrote that down. But he showed me the dotted eighth. So what we're going to do first is program a sound. So this will be a little basic here, but we're going to turn on the cutoff filter and give it a pluck type of vibe. Actually, let me think for a second. We're going to control the envelope. This is getting really, really tedious. So we're going to have an LFO, okay, go over the cutoff filter. And we need to give it a speed. So right now it's doing quarter beat. So if I turn on the metronome and I play the note, it should match the metronome's timing here. So let's draw a note in here. So it should go click, click, click with the metronome. Okay, but what I want to do is give it a bounce. So quarter beats are too stiff because they're on that downbeat. So we need to switch this mode to dotted mode. FL wants to act up as soon as I want to show you guys something. Okay, man, FL, stop effing up. I might have to switch to Logic, y'all. FL has this weird glitch and it's so annoying. Oh my God. FL, can you work for once? Okay, I think I got it working. Okay, so dotted notes and then switch this. We're going to switch the rate to 1/8, but make sure it's 1/8 with a little dot next to it that symbolizes the dotted note. So now when the LFO goes, it should go dum, 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 like that. Now notice it doesn't go dum, 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 because what we're doing is creating I call this an extended tresillo. So what happens if I go tre, si, o, si, o, si, o, si, o, si, o, tre, si? That's the EDM bounce. They're extending the tresillo. So I have to basically reset the note for this rhythm to reset. Tre, si, o. Ready? Tre, si, o, si, o, si, o, si, o, si, o, tre, si, o, si, o, si, o, si, o, si, o, tre. So it's tresillo, just repeated. So yeah, I wish FL would not be, oh my God, FL. I'm gonna have to switch over to Logic if this keeps happening. This is not cool at all. Look at this, I'm like stuck in this menu. Goodness, y'all. But hopefully you got the concept. It's tresillo, just repeated. There's really nothing else to show you except for that pattern. So hopefully you guys can make sense of what I'm saying is that this dotted eighth note is basically tresillo if you just keep going. So to reset that pattern, you have to re-trigger a note. All right, so FL is like really effing up. It's so hard for me to recommend FL25. I'm sorry to go off topic today, but so many bad glitches in here. So, okay, now we're moving forward. So we have the reggaeton pattern. We have the EDM pattern. Now let's talk about trap. So trap is the most ubiquitous genre because you can apply trap to country. You could apply trap to R&B. You could apply it to hip hop. You could apply it to even pop records. So trap is really known for the unique hard drums and the patterns. So I'm going to give you guys the basic pattern, but then we're going to switch it up and show you guys a more aggressive pattern. So most of the time, trap is based around the Roland TR-808 drum kit. That's kind of like what it's based around, just kind of modified in a modern way. So you're going to hear this clap. This is from the Roland TR-808, or I think the 909 had something like that. So one of those two. And usually some kind of percussive sound. So in terms of sound selection for trap, you're going for a closed hi-hat that's synthetic. This is not an acoustic hi-hat. This is a synthetic hi-hat. Okay, and it's very, very, very short. Then we have a snare, usually really aggressive, and they're also synthetic, or aggressively saturated to where it sounds synthetic. All right, and then you have another kind of Roland style snare / clap combo. This is a snare and a clap combined. All right, then you have hard kicks like this. And you guys can find sounds. For example, my go-to kit is at busyworksbeats.com/black. I just released what's called the Black Box Bundle. This is our greatest bundle, and we only do it once a year. So the Black Box Bundle has what I think it's like 4,000 sounds in it, and 1,000 presets from my plugins, because I made I think 3 to 4 plugins for you guys. So it's pretty insane. All right, so it has a ton of sounds in there. Now, if you guys want the full library, here's what it looks like. It has some of my favorite kicks in here. They're so good that I had to make different versions of them. Like, these hit crazy hard. Let me turn the volume down a little bit. And then you got the weekend kicks. I definitely can say that I have the strongest kicks in the industry. That's for sure. I can almost darn near guarantee that. Okay, so we got the kicks, we got the snare, we got the hi-hat, and then we got the 808. This is a Roland 808, just kind of modified to be modern. We call this DJ Spins 808. It's basically the staple of all things trap. And we have, again, the roll and clap. What else do we have in here? And then we have a percussive sound. Now, percussion can be, it could be a shaker, it could be a bongo, it could be a rim shot of a snare. It doesn't need to be something specific. It's just something different than a hi-hat. So now you have those ingredients. We're going to go to about 140 BPM. Technically speaking, trap, you can base, okay, so here's the difference. If I play my metronome here at 70, you know, you could make beats at technically at 70 BPM, but the issue that you're going to have is when you go to make hi-hat rolls, it becomes very difficult in FL Studio. So it's easier to do hi-hat rolls and different complex glitches when you go double the BPM. So trap, in my opinion, is anything above 120, because 120 is fast enough to not be perceived as like, I'll show you guys what I mean. So here's what I mean. So most beginners, they'll put their snare on the 2 and the 4. So if you count the metronome, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this determines their BPM. But this is like a dance track. So what trap did, which I think they took a lot off of Timbaland's bounce, is they put the snare on the 3 and the 7 count. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's very slowed down because the snares are spaced out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what trap is. It's a little bit spread out. So we call that double time. So we're doubling the BPM because we want to get more granular with our hi-hat rolls and different things. So that's why we start producing at 120. Technically speaking, we're at 60 BPM, but in reality, the way we perceive glitches and the faster stuff of the beat, it feels like 120. All right, so that's how you spread out your snares. Okay, so what are we gonna do for the kick pattern? You got it right, tresillo. Boom, doom, boom. That's called tresillo. Tresillo, same pattern. Tresillo. Now we can move tresillo around. It doesn't have to be, you know, the start like boom, 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 boom. It doesn't have to be like that. You could space it out. You could even separate it so it can go boom, tresillo, boom. So usually speaking, more modern records, they tend to put the tresillo pattern towards the end of their pattern. Now, what's cool in FL Studio, you can hit, I think, Command or Control Shift, and then use your arrows left and right to move this around. So you can experiment and find new pockets for that tresillo. Now, I wouldn't do it on the downbeat at the end. So this is how you get into those weird pockets of rhythm. I wouldn't do it like that. Let's try another tresillo. Now, if you notice, the third kick went to the front. Okay, so sometimes we don't perceive the end of the pattern as part of the tresillo, but this goes tre, si, downbeat. All right, and that starts the pattern. And that's how we add bounce to our trap records, to R&B records as well. Now, let me show you guys some of the in-between stuff. So this is where you want more of a lightweight snare. There are different snares for this. In this case, we're just going to use this percussion. But in the in-betweens, we can also use tresillo. So it can go boom, tre. Like, for example, let's just map out tresillo for the snare. Tre, whoops. Tre, si, boom, boom, tre, si. But we're just getting rid of that third hit. So tresillo can appear as 2 notes or 3 notes. Tre, si, boom, ta, boom, boom, ta, tre, si, boom, ta, boom. So again, like I said, tresillo does not have to be in a certain spot. It could be anywhere. And we could have 2 notes, we could have 3 notes. So that is what creates the bounce in your song. So whenever your song just lacks a bounce, try throwing in some tresillo. Now here's a more modern approach to trap, which is instead of the 3 and the 7, we got this from the drill influence of the UK, Chicago drill, and from New York drill, but it really came from like Chicago/UK, which is instead of putting our snare on the 3 and the 7, we're going to put the snare on the 3 and the 6 or the 3 and the 8. So this opens up the room for the middle of the drum pattern to switch up your kick pattern. So let's move the snare from the 3 and the 7 to the 3 and the 8. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this creates a little pause where you would normally expect the snare, and we throw it off just by a beat. Okay, so this is where you can get fancy with your 808s. So let's record some kind of 808 pattern. See how at the end I went do 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 do. Like you can get fancy with the 808 performance because you now have that room and you're not worried about that snare interfering with the pattern. Now I did a pretty basic pattern, but some people could use more tresillo with their bounce. Let's try more tresillo patterns. Okay, so that was more of a tresillo bounce. Tresillo. Let's open that up. Tresillo, like that. So there's a lot of ways we can go about the 808. So just try throwing that snare off of the 3 and the 7. Another thing you could do, which is like Playboi Carti tried this on a bounce and it worked. We even had a Lunchbox, who is in the new jazz kind of genre, put the snare on the 3 and the 8, or excuse me, the 3 and the 5. I thought that was really unique. I was like wondering why the beat sounded so different. He put the snare on the 3 and the 5. So let's try the 3 and the 6. This is more of a Playboi Carti timing. Sometime you really got to build around it. So let's just see what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See how it kind of just abruptly comes in? So let's go in and see if we can add an 808. So here you got to be a little bit like, you got to just remember to add bounce because we're not doing too much bounciness until the very end. So there's not any sign of tresillo outside of the snare and this kick. So we want to keep that bounce going. So see how at the end, I just made it more rapid and let the kick be the tresillo and the snare be the tresillo. But in the beginning, the 808 was the tresillo. So there's still tresillo happening. It's just happening in different elements. So in the beginning, you have boom, 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 tresillo, like that, the 808. Towards the end, you have the kick going boom, boom, boom on the downbeat. And in between, you have the snare going ta, ta. Okay? So it's 3 things doing tresillo. Now let's talk about hi-hat rolls because that is an important part of rage and trap sometimes. In FL Studio, they have a new graph editor where you can just click in the top right of your channel rack, go to where it says repeat, click on your hi-hats. Now the only thing about this is that the note repeat only lasts for the length of the note. So it's a very short note. So if I go in, it goes and then it stops. That's a cool way to, add some glitches and switch ups. But sometimes for your genre, you want longer hi-hat rolls. So we're going to right click, go to piano roll. And I learned this from Chop Squad DJ. Now you're like, okay, what happened to our glitches? In the bottom left, you can switch this to note repeat and you can see the values for the glitches right here. Okay, but let's go back to velocity view. So let's say right here, I want a hi-hat roll. Let's hit Command L or Control L to elongate this note. Let's hit Alt U to chop this note. I learned this from Chop Squad DJ, shout out to him, and change the time multiplier. And you can also just right click to get rid of notes, and you can mess with the velocity of notes. So you can do a lot when you start chopping the note up. me show you how to do those like internet money hi-hat pitch dives. So let's do a pitch dive right here. Let's make it go. So think of this as like a layer to your hi-hat. So we're going to highlight this hi-hat. We're going to reset the velocity, hitting Alt, left click to reset the velocity. Let's hit Alt U, chop this up into like this many pieces. And in the bottom left, you can switch this to note fine pitch. Okay. And then grab this, make this bigger so you can see. Whenever you mess up, just hit Alt left click to reset the values here. Alt left click, but you can right click and pitch this down so it goes like that. So let's hear what this sounds like. You can also add a filter cutoff. I'm trying not to get too deep in the weeds of sound design, but you can also go into what's called the filter cutoff and basically muffle the hi-hats going down. And you could use what's called resonance to go upward. So it adds this like lasery tone as you go up. So that might be a little too much. Let's pull that back actually. And this is how people add those like really alien sounding. Now the resonance you can't really hear. It's a little too aggressive. But that's a way you can kind of pull in some laseriness as it goes down with the filter cutoff. You can also control the note panning. So if you want to get really crazy, you can sit here and decide which side the hi-hat should be panned. I'm not going to get too crazy with this one, but it adds a little more randomness. So let's say you want to pan from the left to the right. You could right click to create some movement. So it's not just dead up the middle. And then again, we can go back to the velocity, hit Shift and left click to create a linear value. So it's not like louder than the other hi-hat. So again, we're thinking of this hi-hat as a layer. So I don't want it to compete with the main hi-hat. So now we got this like sub rhythm. Now I'm not going to show you guys how to make those like alien hi-hats where people have like a bazillion hi-hats going on. I think it's just dependent on the producer. But this is a pretty unique, ubiquitous technique. So now you just need your rage melody. So that's how trap kind of evolved into rage, was via the drill bounce. So let's cover drill. Now that we've covered, let me make sure I know where I'm at with all my notes. We've covered so much already. So we covered tresillo, we've covered reggaeton, we did EDM dotted eighths. I forgot to mention some EDM BPMs you guys want to try. 108 BPM, 112 BPM, 115, 120, and 128. I forgot to mention that before. So now let's talk about the drill genre. So drill is more than just like people rapping about death or whatever. It's a bounce to the beat. So if we go to this folder, the only person I know that dedicated their sound to drill is J Cactus. So let's go to J Cactus. He has something called Planet Drill Bundle. He also has something called the Divine Bundle. I used to use that one a lot for drill. He has another pack called Pyroverse for trap. The Re-Up pack is for early 2000s bundle. And the Sacred Trap suite is for trap. So let's use either Planet Drill or the Divine Bundle. The reason is because in his drum kits, he has a CS folder. And the CS represents something called a counter snare. So a counter snare is basically just a filtered snare to sound like a hi-hat. So let me take a regular snare and show you guys how these are made. So for example, if I took this snare and then let's say we wanted to make it more of a drill snare, I would go to the envelope. I would switch this to a high pass filter and I would turn the filter on and then turn it up a little bit. And now we have a drill snare. Okay, so drill snares are different than regular trap snares because they're filtered. And this is called a counter snare. All right, so that is something unique to the drill genre you don't see with other genres. Now for Philly, they might use this type of like Philly drill. You have Philly drill, Chicago drill. What else is there? UK drill, you guys name it. So they all kind of have their own like sub identity, but it comes down to the same principles of rhythm. So for drill, we're going to start at 144 BPM. And let's use J Cactus's sound here. Now the kind of distinguishing rhythm of drill is tresillo. Just repeat it. So it's tresillo, tresillo, tresillo. It's very fast. So again, not triplets. Triplets is 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Tresillo is ta ta Wait, now I'm forgetting. Triplets is 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Tresillo is ta 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 ta. It's a bounce to it. Now you can do glitches and, you know, snare rolls and all that type of stuff with your snares if you want to be fancy, but it's not mandatory. Drill is kind of tresillo. That's kind of what people know the pattern to be. And this is also, what's that genre called? Jersey Club. They also use this as well in Jersey Club. So it's the same tresillo pattern. All right, now let's go back to J Cactus's kit. Now on drill, you might space out your kicks a little bit more than you would in trap. Let's pull up some kind of 808. I'm just gonna pick a random 808 because I don't feel like going through 1,000 of them. And we're just gonna record some notes. You know, I'm gonna make this a little bit longer because I want to show you guys something that we used to do for like Pop Smoke, RIP Pop Smoke. So let's add this to the playlist and let's copy this over. So let me reset my view, y'all. Sorry, I have my video stuff set for like content, so it's a different color. Okay, let's go to song mode. So now I'm gonna record the bass and I want you guys to listen to what I do after I record. Wrong note, my bad. Now the last note was a little low. I might sounds like a tractor. All right, so let's go to 1/4, quantize that thing, hit Control Alt Q to quantize in the new FL. What we need to do here though is add slide notes. So I'm going to show you guys a slide note technique. It's pretty simple. Let me see where I want to do it though. So let's say I want to do a slide thing at the end of this 4-bar section. I want to create some kind of slide note. The first thing I recommend you guys do is keep it really simple with 4 notes. And we're going to do just 4 simple notes. A note, half step up, another note, half step up. If you want to get music theory about it, D is the root note, A is a perfect fifth of D. So we're just basically using a perfect fifth. And we're going to copy this up an octave, hit Control up. So the key here is we need to change all of these notes to slide notes. Let's double click, turn this into a slide note, double click, slide note, double click, slide note. And once more, double click, slide note. All right, so now it will sound quirky if I just solo this. It'll be like, so what's happening though is that these notes are too long. We need to shorten these notes. So let's highlight the notes and hit Alt, left click and make them shorter so it slides faster. And that's how you get that kind of Pop Smoke sound. Now we've had beat battlers create the craziest 808 slides in our Discord. So 808 slides can get really complicated. I want to thank everybody who actually made it to the live stream. Pipe God is here. What up? Smash that like button. Read in the chat. 6, 7, yeah, 3, 2, and 4. Exactly. Nikki Gomez is here. What up? Osana is here. We got Freeman Productions. How do I prevent my 808s from clashing? I'll show you in a second. Darn, RIP your computer, Nick. Hopefully it boots up. I know that stress of your computer not booting up. Oh, it's the most stressful thing. Just Jada Rude. What up? Sir Bones. I'm on a Mac Pro. What is this? Mac Mini M4 Pro with about 2 terabytes of space, 24 gigs of RAM. I think those are the specs. Okay, so back to business here. I just wanted to shout out you guys. So let's continue with these rhythms. We're talking about drill right now. Now again, 808 rolls can be really crazy. I'm going to show you guys little subtle things you could do. Like for example, instead of just going from this note to A, we could add the note that we're leading up to, and then we could double click and make it a slide note. So it goes like that. So that's a technique you guys can use to kind of pull the ear in a direction, because think about real bass. You don't just go doop, 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 doop. Sometimes the bass goes like that. So we're doing the same thing with the 808. We're making it slide and pitch. And again, you can get really crazy with the 808s. Just grab this ellipses. I'm just going to show you guys a couple things we could do. For example, let's restore the velocity here. And let's pan the 808s left, right, center. And it looks like it copied my value from before. Here we go. So I've seen a lot of drill guys do that left, right technique for beat battle beats. And two, you can slide back down to the note. I don't know what this will sound like exactly, but let's try sliding back down to the note. It might be too aggressive though. So it goes like that. So more of like a, I don't know how to describe that type of sound. More like a tape stop effect. All right, now we can go through. Now that's why you would use the sample from like a J Cactus, because his 808s are very elongated. This is called a sustained 808, whereas this one's more truncated. Okay, whereas if you're doing melodic 808s like we just did, you want a longer 808 that holds longer. If you want your 808s not to clash, make sure you right click cut itself. Also go to the wrench tool and make sure your cut groups are the same. So let's say I wanted to throw in this random bounce 808. I can right click, open this up. I have to make sure that the cut group on the wrench tool is the same number. So this says 3x3. We're going to go to the second 808, go to the wrench tool, make sure it's 3x3. So these basically, anytime I play one or the other, it will cut the other one off. So if I, let's add one in here. So I'm just showing you guys it's cutting the first sound off. I know it's not the greatest rhythm. So that's how people get that, like that yeet bounce. They use that cut group. So I'm just adding these notes in just to show you guys the power of these cut groups. Let's change the note. Oh, you know what? So if your notes, like for example, I was changing the note, it didn't change. You want to go back to the front of your 808 in the sampler, go to mode, resample, right click the time knob because that's usually locked, hit reset, and that will fix the tonal issues. So now I want to go, let's pull these up, hit shift up. Let me show you guys a couple tips. These are kind of beyond the scope of drum patterns, but if you go to pre-computed effects, you can add what's called a stereo delay. This spreads the drum sound from the left ear to the right ear. You can do the same thing with the first 808. It's how people get this nice spread sound. I think some of these notes are off. It's hard to tell. This grid's a little crooked. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this should be on the 2 and there we go. All right, now let's add some snares in here just to show you guys the pattern. Let's go back to the, now the main snare, the heavy snare. Remember, counter snares are treated almost like hi-hats. Now let's go back and add a snare, a main snare. Let's put this main snare on the 3 and the 6, the 3 and the 8. Let's keep switching it up so it's not just on the 3 and the 7 all the way through. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Filter this snare a little bit with the high pass filter. Let's add a little. It's hard to really hit. 1 tick chick. Okay. All right, now let's add this kick. showing you guys how creative you can get with it. Now the kick, I'm not thinking about the kick. It's usually more spread out though. So Chicago drill goes doom, doom, doom at the end. That's a Chicago drill thing. Technically, if I map this out today, see, if this is spread out, but if we made this smaller, I don't know if there's a way to do this. Let's see if we can make this smaller. I'm pretty sure this is trecio. So it's trecio. Okay, so that's a trecio pattern, just spread out very like wide. But it's it is trecio. It's just spread apart. So that's how embedded trecio is in all of our patterns. You might not have noticed it till this video, but that's the key. Is that a low pass? And then we could add trecio counter. Trecio, 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 trecio. So trecio is everywhere. I'm gonna delay the hi-hat a little bit. We created that pattern in a matter of seconds. If I wasn't talking through everything. So again, drill usually starts at 144 BPM. That's kind of where it lives for the most part. So one thing I forgot to mention though is the UK snare positioning, which is on the 4.5. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and really the 4.5 is part of trecio. Once you guys hear what I mean. So let's add the snare. So turn your metronome on 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's usually on the 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7. That's this is a UK bounce. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7. Let's take out the kick. Let's take out this other 808 so it doesn't keep cutting it off. So that's how you get into that bounce. All right, now let's move into, we did Rage. So we kind of covered, one thing I didn't cover about Rage is the snare rolls, which is really just a decoration. It's not like a mandatory thing. Let's just go back to Rage for a millisecond here. So Rage, the difference between Rage and Trap, in my opinion, is where they place their snare. So in this case, we're going to place the snare on the 3 and the 6. You could do the 3 and the 8. You could do 3 and the 7. But most of the time, if they want to be different from Trap, they'll put it on either the 3 and the 6 or the 3 and the 8. All that being said, turn the metronome on and count. 1, 2. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's usually the difference. And also too, you can blend. Sorry, you can blend these in. So you could do 3 and 8 and 3 and 6 just to switch it up. 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can switch it up. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Now, in modern genres too, they kind of focus on the 808s. So we have a ton of 808s. I think it's 120 plus 808s. You guys can find this in Black Box bundle at busyworksbeats.com/Black Box. Actually, go to busyworksbeats.com/Black. That's the easier link. And this genre tends to, let me find a decent 808 for this genre. I'm just going to pick an 808 because I don't want to spend too much time on it. But they tend to be a little more like melodic with their 808s because the snares are so spread out. Let's come up with a better. Now let's listen to that pattern. And it's a little low because for most people, they can't hear this, but it goes tre, si, o, si, o, si. So it goes tre, si, o, tre, si, o, tre, si, o. See how tre, si, o is everywhere, guys. Once you learn this pattern, it's literally everywhere. Now for this, I'll just clip the 808. This is not how I mix though. Just want you guys to understand. Just boosting it for the volume, but that's not how I process my 808s at all. And here you can also fade out stuff to become more truncated. The more truncated the notes, the more bouncy. All right, so let's cover snare rolls. Now snare rolls, again, it's kind of producer dependent, but it's the same thing as a hi-hat roll. So let's go to right click, let's go to piano roll, highlight your snare, hit Control L, hit Alt U to chop it up. And again, you could change the glitch amount. So that's just a simple roll. I'm not going to go crazy on the roll. And again, people tend to pan stuff sometimes, so it has more motion to it. You could also mess with the velocity per note. You could also filter each note, just so it's like different. But again, people do all types of stuff. There's no like formula for it. It's just they have snare rolls. All right, now let's move into Afrobeat. So Afrobeat is, you guys might think it's just like super hard thing to learn, but once you understand that it all comes down to tresillo, you'll realize that this course is worth thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars because I simplify really difficult music into simplicity. Let's go to 103 or 108 BPM. Let's try 103 for now. Let's go to our browser. So Ramon, he's from Morocco. He has a lot of Afrobeat kits. He sent me one called Fire Gang. I like that one a lot. He has another one called Madrid, his free kit, and Cartier. It looks like a collab kit. I don't know if this has drums in it. I think it might. Oh yeah, it has a drum kit. So I don't know what kind of drums are in here, but it sounds like worldly drums. So let's go to Fire Gang because I know he made this for Afrobeat. So here we need, now in Afrobeat, their kicks aren't as like aggressive as they are in trap. So you don't always need the super heaviest kick. That's one mistake that we tend to make in trap. We pick these super hard kicks, and other genres don't use super hard kicks all the time. So Afrobeat is going to go tre, si, o, pa, pa, tre, si, o, ta, ta. That's the pattern. Now we're going to use some kind of lightweight percussion like a hi-hat, a snare. Here we go. Let's use that one. All right, so now the tresillo is going to be spread across 3 different sounds: the kick, the hi-hat, the snare for the most part. So it's going to go kick, snare, hi-hat, or kick, snare, kick, like that. Let's go to pattern mode. And then it goes ta, ta, something light. Let's do a shaker instead. That's the pattern. Just turn these up a little bit. Now I'm going to show you guys the sound they tend to lean towards. Now again, I'm giving you guys the simplified, boiled down. This is what the core of what it is. You can make variations on Afrobeat, of course. I'm going to act like this is the only pattern. Let's go here. Let's go to something called and also X Dizzle put me onto this years ago. It's called Fruity DX10, is it? Man, I forgot the name. I have so many plugins, you guys. I forgot the name of it. See if I can find it. So it's not the DX7. Man, I'm going blank on the name. Oh, Fruity DX10. Here it is. So we're going to go to the Fruity DX10, go to presets, and let's go to log drum. Here's the preset he told me about years ago. This is basically like their 808. They tend to combine these with 808s depending on the sound design. But this is like their 808 over in that genre. So this is the sound of it. It's basically a sine wave modulated by sine wave. So let's record this in. So I play random notes, okay, but it's all 3 C O 3 C 3 C O 3 C O 3. Like it's just 3 C O the entire way through. I'm telling you guys, that is the key to unlock everything you want to know. Now, if you want to get fancy, you can combine this with an 808. Some people add chorus to the sound to widen it out, but you don't need chorus necessarily. You could just add the Fruity Stereo Enhancer or Stereo Shaper up the delay to widen it out. Now again, some people do 4 to the floor kick, so it's boom to boom to. So it just depends on what kind of vibe you guys are going for, but Trecio is definitely a part of this. Now from here, I might add some chords. Let's go to Halo. This is my plugin at busyworksbeats.com/black. It comes in the black box bundle. So what I play? I think this genre very like Cali vibes. It's kind of what I'm hearing. 1, 2, 3, let's go. All right, then we're gonna move into house. So this is why a lot of Afro genres tend to move into house, because they use similar principles from house and Afrobeat. Because house is pretty much the same thing, except they use more 4 to the floor stuff. So let's say I want to make this into a house beat. One, I'm going to swap out the kick. Actually, we could use the same kick. Let's right click, fill each 4 steps. So we'll use the same exact pattern. And now we have to decide which sounds need to be sidechained. So I'm just going to group the log drum and the melodies. We'll just call it melody for now, but technically it's more than just melody. It's the log drum and the synth. So let's group these into a group here. Right click, route to this track only. I'm going to move quicker here because this is like, I'm not trying to make this a tutorial. We need to basically modulate this volume. I want it to go up and down based on that kick, okay? The way we do that is we go to the kick. We open up Fruity Peak Controller. Here it is, Peak Controller. And we go over to the melody, go to the EQ, right click the furthest left fader. This is the global macro main level for this plugin. We're gonna link to controller, link it to the peak controller, peak. So basically every time the kick hits, it turns up the volume by default. Let me turn it down so you guys don't blow out your speakers. So every time the kick hits, actually, you see it turning up the volume? Okay, so we want it to do that, but just, we want the volume to start higher. So we need to find our kick. Let me do this while this is open. All right, so as we change what's called the bass starting point, remember this fader is bipolar, it can go up or down. So 50% is actually the center. So let's pull this up to 50%. And now we need to tell the volume to go down. We don't want it to go up. So every time that kick hits, it turns down the volume of the instruments. And that's how you create what's called a groove, for EDM at least. Now we can speed up the BPM. Let's add some more sounds in here. So So house is known for that repetitive kind of chord progression where it kind of, let's see what kind of pianos I have in here. We need a piano that stands out. Let's use this one. Let me think of some chords here. I might transpose that triad. Trying to create a different chord. This beat wants to be very simple. I don't want to put too much into it. Alright, so let's record this in. So this beat wants to be very simple, and that's just the nature of that log drum, because it's playing more than one note. It's actually playing like a perfect fifth. That's why it's kind of already harmonized. And now let's add little adjustments here, like offsetting the kick to fit better in that groove. So sometimes people forget to offset that kick, and that's why their groove doesn't sound natural. It sounds very forced. So don't forget to offset that kick sometimes, or your snare. So we're gonna go to the wrench tool. I'm gonna add some serum up in this thing, and we're gonna apply the same concept we had earlier with the dotted eighths. So I'm gonna go to the filter. I'm gonna move a little bit quicker here because we covered this earlier, but let's give it an envelope. Let's do dotted values, and let's pull it up to a dotted eighth. It has to have this little dot next to it. And let's turn the filter on. Now it sounds like that. Now we got to give it a rhythm that locks in with the trecio of the beat. Let me add some unison in here. All right, so I'm playing 3 notes. For house specifically, we're gonna add what's called a syncopated hi-hat. So I'm blending the Afro ideas with house. So let's go to a hi-hat. We just need a simple, let me see. Let's go to the actual kit here. It's going to be called the Roland TR 808 or 909. I think the 909 has more of the open hi-hat sound I want. All right, so you guys can find these in our Discord. We have a list of the vintage drum sounds. And where is it at? TR 909. We're going to use this sound here. It's the classic, the house sound. So we're going to put the notes on the and, so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and like that. And don't forget to offset it to fit in the groove. Now I'm going to swap out the kick. This kick doesn't really resemble. Let's give it more of an EDM. See how that cymbal swap. And now let's add our serum into the melody group. Now we just need like more melodic stuff. We add like a pluck. So now we're gonna add the reverb. So I don't know why I'm building a whole house track here, but let's get rid of the serum for a second. Let me reshape this. I don't think that Reese Bates matches this vibe, but I do like the sound. I don't think that rhythm matches this rhythm though. Now we just got to add some reverb. So Halo has a built-in effects area. So you can find again my new plugin called Halo 3D at busyworksbeats.com/black. It's included in the black box bundle. It's all our sounds, all our plugins, and all our courses, which is 80 plus courses in one. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/black. So now I'm just grouping all these sounds. Now is it the greatest tune? We have to tighten it up a little bit. Let's get rid of that log drum. I feel like that's competing with the rhythms. But that is the identity. So as you can see, the more you add, the more stuff we have. And now the groove becomes more and more important because I don't know how to say it, but imagine the groove is like a filter. Everything is under the filter. And so we're filling out the sounds under the filter. I know that's not technically a filter, but that's how I'm thinking of it. Another thing you could do with the P controller is control the decay curvature. So if we want the decay to be slower, I think you pull it to the left. Yeah, so it takes longer for the volume to return. Now we have it feels like down, up, like a throwing of the volume. Let's also add a little clap in here. So you guys get the gist. I'm just sitting here vibing. Speed it up, you can slow it down. So we kind of threw together two genres, but that's a basic blueprint of how you guys can combine the two. So we covered Afrobeat, we've covered reggaeton, we covered trap, we covered rage, we covered EDM, we covered house music, and we covered drill. So now let's move into R&B as well as hip hop. So for hip hop, I want to demonstrate in Logic Pro because I'll show you guys something called a swing. It just sounds more natural in Logic Pro. FL Studio doesn't really have the same thing in there. It's just different. But basically in our Discord, we have these things called, let me pull it up real quick. They're called MPC Groove templates. So if we go to Discord, let me pull up the screen. I think I put them under the drum kits tab. Let me find, yeah. If you join our Discord, it's completely free. Just go to discord.gg/busyworksbeats. Here you'll see under the download, actually when you join in, click at the top where it says busyworksbeats, go to where it says show all channels. And once you see everything, go to the left side, go to where it says downloads, then go to where it says drum kits. And here's where you can find the MPC templates that I'm about to show you guys. So MPC templates, you could basically quantize to the swing of an MPC. FL Studio is not the same as Logic Pro in this technique I'm about to show you guys. So this is more than just the swing parameter inside of FL Studio. I'm going to show you guys how to actually get an authentic 90s MPC type of bounce, which is just a very different pocket. All right, so let's start at 82 BPM. I found is the best start for a boom bap. Now, when it comes to boom bap, again, swing is the main thing, but the problem is FL Studio swing is not the same as the swing you guys know of in classic hip hop. So there's a difference, okay? Firstly, we need to find some drums. So let's go to our busyworksbeats.com/black. In the blueprint, we have a kick. We have acoustic kicks and trap kicks. So there's one. Here's one. It's a nice one for boom bap. What else do we have? We have 808s. We have all types of stuff. But let's use a snare from the Drum Broker. Just put out some kits. And if you guys use, I think the code is like BusyWorks or Busy10 or something like that. I forgot the code. I'll put it in the description below. But they gave you 10% off just for knowing me. So shout out to them. Let me figure out which kit it is. So the kit is called, it's in my drum breaks folder. Here it is, drum breaks. And then AJ Hall has some good stuff too. Beat Butcher has the best drum kits in my opinion in terms of overall kind of boom bap sound. But then I like messing with these called Saucy Loops J Dilla edition. These are pretty good too. So I like to go with the kick. Forget which kick. I think it's this one. And just a simple snare rim shot just like that. So I'm going to pull back the buffer so I can play in real time here. Give me a second. Boom. All right. So now we have the kick. We have the snare. We just need a simple hi-hat. Open those up. All right, so we're going to trim that hi-hat just so it doesn't have a gap in the beginning. So like I said, you can play boom, ta, boom, boom, ta in your recording. So let me show you guys. So firstly, if I'm recording to a boom bap, I usually record the hi-hat first to the metronome, and then I turn off the metronome. I think Alchemist said he does this too. So let's record to the metronome and then take it away. All right, so now we have the hi-hats. What we need to do is quantize them. So quantizing, when I say quantize, I don't mean to the stiff grid. 1, 2, 3, 4, not that grid. We're talking about an MPC groove. So this will be analogous to an Ableton. You have groove templates that you can extract from different performances. FL Studio has something similar, but it's not the same thing. You can basically apply a MIDI groove from a performance to your MIDI. So it's not the same as extracting grooves, but it's similar in a way. So let's hit Alt Q. That's the shortcut. Alt Q. This pulls up the piano roll quantizer. Now, most people never notice this, but there's a template section. So a template is basically what's the math behind how they determine the vertical columns and how they split up the timing. So by default, it's set to default, but you can actually load up different templates and grooves from different performances, whether it's a drummer, whether it's an MPC. Again, we have that in our Discord. So right now mine is set to the MPC setting, and I show you guys in a different video how to install this. Here's the directory where you have to install it. You have to go to your applications folder on a Mac, right click your FL Studio, open package contents, go to contents folder, resources folder, FL folder, data folder, patches folder, scores folder, and then put your MPC patches in there. I know it's complicated, but that's just where it's stored. Okay, and now basically 50% is 0. So if you want swing, you want to choose something that's 52, 54. That's usually my pocket of swing, 52 to 56. Anything above that is like really aggressive swing, like da-doom, da-doom. Like sometimes I just want, I don't want da-doom. Like I don't want like a jazzy type of swing. So I stick between 52 to 56. Let's try 54% swing. And as you guys may have seen, the graph just changed in the background. So now we're quantizing not to a grid, we're quantizing to a swing grid. Okay, so it's not the same as quantizing to your regular grid. So you can kind of use this as a mix level where it says start time, and sensitivity is like a fine-tuned parameter as well. So now we have a bouncier, more open type of sound to the hi-hats. It's not just all the way through. Okay, so just because people play drums by hand does not mean they did not quantize on the MPC. Let's record the snare. Now you can loop record if you want to do this more seamlessly, but again, what we're going to do is quantize this using the same settings so that they lock into the same groove, or you could just not quantize it. Now let's record the kicks. So again, we're using the hi-hat as the metronome. So that kick may be a different swing. So if I quantize this, it might take away the swing. So let's hit Alt Q and see if does it give us the same vibe. Now it goes doo-doo like that. It doesn't go doo-doo. So here's where I think we're going to switch up the swing. So let's hit Alt Q and let's switch the template to something more aggressive like 64%. So this applies only to the kick because the kick goes doo-doo like that. So the only things you can really hear swing on are the patterns that play back to back. Now, if I quantize the hi-hats to 64 swing, it might be just two like two jazz bounce. So, you know, the older styles of hip hop usually use more aggressive swing. Boom, 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 like that. Whereas modern boom bap is not as boom, boom, boom. So it just depends on what you guys are trying to create. Also too, you can, for like Griselda style boom bap, you can go all the way to 77. That's going to give you a slowed down like type of hip hop. All right, now I'm gonna give you guys a bonus just because you guys watched this video so far. Let's go to my plugin, for example, Halo 3D. Send this to the mixer, and we're gonna pull up. This plugin was really made for like that smeary hip hop sound, so it could be used for boom bap, it could be used for Travis Scott. It's kind of that smeary sound. So let's pull up a guitar, for example, or we could even do a keyboard sound. We're gonna play half steps here, and I'm gonna add this behind the drums. So we're going to play half steps, and then I'm going to show you guys the secret plugin to make your melody sound super Griselda-y. All right, so get ready for some sauce. Here is the sauce I'm about to show you guys. So the plugin we're going to use is called Kilohearts. It's a free plugin called Kilohearts. Where is it at here? The pitch shifter plugin. I think it's this one. I haven't used this in a long time, so forgive me, y'all. It's been a minute. Yeah, the pitch shifter plugin from Kilohearts. Now what we need to do is turn off the correlate function, and we're going to add what's called jitter or random pitch change. So this creates like a very blurry sound. So here's before. Now let's turn it on. Now you can combine this with what's called spring reverb to get a really unique sound. So now I'm going to go back to the plugin and just swap out the source sound. So that's how you get that weird Griselda sound. Use that granular effect and then also combine that with spring reverb, and you guys have a really Griselda-like sound. So I sound design as well as teach production, and I'm just trying to put you guys up on some extra tips. So let's see what else we can get into. So we did hip hop. Now normally I would do this in Logic Pro. It's just an easier process and the drums sound better. We might go back to Logic Pro, but I already showed you guys the MPC swing. Now in Logic Pro, to get that same swing, you don't need an MPC template. You could just use 1/16th note quantize, and then there's a swing parameter. You just pull it above 50%. You'll get that same or better quantize. Now let's talk about R&B, and I'll kind of blend R&B with the 2000 sound because Timbaland kind of brought those two together. So let's tap out the tempo. Dirty South. Dude, y'all can't make free. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that BPM, that double time, came from Timbaland. So the thing is, we're not going to use hard trap drums. We're going to use like drums from the 2000s. So there's a creator who is called The Innovator, and he has kits that take sounds from those retro kits. So let's find a snare, like very distinct snare sounds. So we're looking for more of a rim snare. We could use something like that. We could use something like this. Let's use this one. It's even labeled Timbo. All right, let's find a kick. Let's see what we got here. Where's the kick? So Timbaland didn't always use like, sometimes it was like a punchier kick. Sometimes the kicks were bigger. I'll just use this kick for the bounce because it's truncated. And we'll use a hi-hat. See here, hi-hat, something like this. And what else do we need? We need some kind of chirping effect. I think that we have chimes, and I thought I had a cricket sound effect somewhere. Let me see if I can find crickets. I just forget where it's at. So we do have this random sample. I don't even know where it's from. All right, so we're gonna hit Control L, send that to the mixer. We're gonna go back to our channel rack and double click, hit Control L, send everything to the mixer. So the main thing that Timbaland made popular, I'll say, is when he was doing his drums, he used a lot of double time and a lot of space. So instead of putting the snare on 1, 2, snare, it's like 1, snare, 2, snare, like that. That's usually where people would put it. He'd do 1, 2, snare, dun 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 dun, blank blank snare, dun 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 blank blank snare, 1, 2, snare, dun 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 dun. There's like no snare. Okay, so it's really spacing out the snare for R&B. So I'll try to get that same vibe. We're not trying to recreate everything but here, but so 1, 2 snare. Let's add this pattern in. Play pattern 8 in this case. So we're putting it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Blank, 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 blank. So let's drag this over. 1, 2, 3. Dun 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 dun. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're just omitting the first 7. So it creates this big gap of time. Let's record the kick. All right, so I'm sure we can find a tresillo pattern in that kick. Dun, 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 dun. Now we could sit here and try to go note for note to copy this. All right, so I'm gonna pull up a piano. I don't know why we're trying to make beats, but all right. So it goes dun 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 dun. I'm going by ear and like rough memory. Dun, dun. Wait, dun. Somewhere between these notes, I feel like this is not tuned right. So it's either D or D sharp, but my ear. So we pitched this up a little bit. So I don't know the exact tuning, but we're plus 53 cents of the 440 hertz tuning. So this is not normal tuning. I'm going by rough memory. Wow, I was not ready for that that part right there. I definitely messed up the ending. Dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Something like that. Okay, we're in the rough park of Timbaland's. Now we need some crickets. So again, it's all that 3 and 7 count. All we did was just take out that first 7 snare. That's the only difference. So let's copy these over. I think the cricket one, like chirpy is like a delay. So let me add, can we add delay on here? Let's try, I don't know if this is possible. Oh, is this what Ian did by accident? You trim the audio, that's what it looks like. That's funny. Here we go, let's do a crossfade. So it goes chirpy, chirpy. I think it does chirpy. It's hard to tell. Worst case, I could just, I don't know why we're getting this granular with this video here, y'all, but I'm dedicated to this. So I'm showing you guys the 2000s pattern. So let's reverse that. Now let's swap out the kick. Kick feels a little small now. way too heavy. See how kicks were way different back then? So that's how we get that bounce. This piano's a little stiff. Let's add a little release. I don't remember if it had a pad behind it. Like, I don't know if there was a pad or not. I cannot recall that part. Let's try a pad though from busyworksbeats.com and our new plugin Halo. That might be too heavy for this. So I was just trying to, I don't know why we made this whole thing. I was kind of in the groove there. Swap out the kick though. It's a little too aggressive. So I could use more piano. I'm not going to sit here and make an entire beat, even though I ended up doing that. But that is a blend of R&B and that 2000s bounce. It's just all about that gappy snare. By removing that snare that would normally go on the 3 or the 7, you can simply omit that note and then create that 2000 sound. Now we rushed through that beat. That was not like a perfect beat by any means. Let me open up a new channel, a new project here. Actually, yeah, let me open up a new project here. And lastly, we're going to do R&B. So give me a second, guys. I got to load my mic up. Give me a sec. All right. So if you found value, again, you guys can go to busyworksbeats.com/black to find our full. We have 80 plus courses, 80 on different things, from Logic Pro to FL Studio to drum patterns to how to be a music producer to how to be a sound designer to how to run your online business to how to get into music theory and basically apply it to piano. Let's call this Drum Patterns Masterclass. And let's do R&B as our last frontier today. So we went through every mainstream genre for the most part. We covered today. So let's Drum Patterns. And I guess at the end of this, we'll just make some beats until we get bored. Let's do this. All right, so now we're back in. Let me check one more thing. I got to check the attendance. All right, so you guys are still in here rolling with me. What up, C-Jim? What up, Jada Rude is in here. Dirty South. Oh, you're talking about the lyrics. It's Chris is in here. 2LG is in here. We got Ivan in here. Thank you guys for being here. Soda's here. Freeman's still here. Thank you. Wiz Beats or Wise Beats. Steven Charles is here. What up? Leon is here. Montana. What up? T is in here. What up, T? Wade is in here. Radar is in here. All right, so let's get back to the business of showing you guys some cool stuff. All right, so now that we are back in business, let's cover R&B. Now, R&B, like I said earlier, trap can be in country. It could be in pop. It could be in R&B. So we have to, what's the word? I guess understand what type of drum we're going for. So the main thing about R&B is that it's very, 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 very slow. So if you go to 60 BPM, it's just enough time for your ear to capture the in-between. So that's the magic of R&B. Like they'll hit you with the hi-hat, but all the in-between space, that's what your ear grips onto. So let me see if I can find it. Let's make it like a 112 type beat. It's like that. All right, so let's go in here. Let's right click, fill each. So we're gonna fill each 4. So basically the trick here is to give enough time for the hi-hat to be missed instead of our modern genres, which is like the hi-hat happens all the time. This genre of R&B is so slow, you have to wait for the hi-hat. And that's what creates that kind of dynamic. All right, so that's kind of the basis of where we're starting. Now you can also think of the same way, the snare, but if you're going for Bryson Tiller, like trap soul, you're gonna use a trap snare. Okay, that's the main difference. So it just depends. If you're going for more of like the 2000 sound, you're gonna pick a snare from that time period. Let's use a Bryson Tiller type snare, which is a more trap-like snare. And let's put the snare on the 3 and the 7. So it's actually, let's space it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the 3 and the 7, but we're at 60 BPM. So it's double time, but we're at 60. Okay, so hopefully that's making sense. Normally we would do double time at 120. We're doing double time at 60. And that's what creates this really, really spread out sound. Let's go to Omnisphere because I want to sound design. And let's create a Reese bass. Let's just start from scratch here. I'm going to give you guys some sound design sauce as a bonus for hopping in. So let's go unison. Turn my keyboard off. Oh, give me a sec. Hold on, y'all. Keyboard's active on my other screen. Give me a sec. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start with a Reese bass. I usually up the saw to about 7 voices. I detune it by an octave. Let's go down, -12. And add a filter to it. And then add saturation to the filter and take off the filter envelope. You could add resonance for more like Drake style sound. So what would Bryson Tiller do? This is a little bitey, so let me pull it back. Something like that. All right, so we'll fix the tone of the Reese bass because it's a little bitey right now, but let's just record this. Really slow notes. Now I might go. Let's actually start here. All right, so I'm going a little bit slower than usual here. Now let's switch the tone out so it's not so gritty. Get rid of some of that. Let's also use more detune. All right, so now you got to figure out chords to go over top of this. I did not, pre-script this chord progression. So we're playing D flat, we're playing D, and then we're playing F sharp, or G flat. Figure out what key this is because then I'll determine the chords I'm going to play. I don't know keys off the top of my head. I have to use a reference here. I just know the notes I'm playing, but because it's in a weird key, hold on. All right, so we're in F sharp minor, very specific. Okay, so now I got the hang of the positioning of my hands. Let's go back to Omnisphere and look for some kind of Rhodes or something. Let's go to, I might even use Keyscape. Actually, no, let's go to. Also, I know we're getting into a lot of things. That's why I had to keep this video just focused on one thing, which is drum patterns. But now we're kind of in the fun mode of this video. So now I'm adding this like sidechain effect. Soft beat. So now we need some kind of soft keys. I forget what library it was in. I want to say either Ambient Dreams or Classic Digital. So I'm gonna do something like that. Let's gotta get the notes right. So dun. I messed my fingers up a second time. That's a lot of notes and a lot to explain. Just don't have time to explain melody. Now we got to get this bass to work better. Let's pull this back up an octave. It's a little too deep. Now we just need to swap out the sound. The sound is kind of aggressive. FL, would you work for me, dog? FL, can you work, man? That's why I thought I might use Logic, because FL's tripping. It won't let me click stuff. Sounds like a Travis Scott sound here. That's hard, but. Right now we need the kicks, so we're gonna spread the kicks out like Timbaland did. So. All right, we're gonna need a better sound though for the melody. This is, there we go. Again, we're just throwing together these ideas. It would take way more time. Is that reverb? So that's slowed trap soul type vibes. You might even add a sample in here. Don't. But that's kind of where it lives. All right, y'all. You guys get to vote if we make a beat or if we just end the live stream. I'll open up the poll. What up, Genova's here? Thank you. Now again, I'm speed running these beats, so are the hit beats? If you take more time with it, appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for your what do you call it? Your membership. Let me do this real quick. Add the chat to the screen. Hold on. I have to do this special maneuver here. Put this thing in here. Do this. Do this. And this. Cool. There you guys go. But yeah, I'll let you guys vote. Let me pull up the poll. If you don't want to beat, no worries. I'll do that in a separate video. But if you guys want to make beats, I don't even know what kind of beat we'll make anyway. You guys get the vote. So if you're learned out, just hit no. I will not be offended. If you are just wanting more examples, then I can make a beat real quick to show you guys how all these principles stack up. And then we will move to the next thing. So I appreciate you guys. So today we went over reggaeton, we went over EDM, we went over trap, we went over drill, we went over hip hop, we went over rage drum patterns, we went over Afrobeat, we went over house, we went over R&B, we went over 2000s, and we covered some other like what do you call it? Hybrid styles too. Well, if you guys want me to make a beat, can you let me know what type of beat? And again, I can't promise it's going to be a hit beat because I didn't prepare or anything. A dubstep beat. I don't know if I'd kill dubstep. It might take too long. Make a little baby beat with triplets. That's funny. I can hear it right now, that beat. Thank you. How you say it? Lulu says you're pretty intuitive when making beats. You open new doors every time you make one. So talented on top of your skill. Thank you. Drum and bass. Oh, you guys want me to? I'm not that thorough with drum and bass. Not yet. Jazz and New Jack Swing. We could, but that just might eat up too much time trying to record, get the groove right. All right, so y'all want to make crazy type beats. Okay, I just meant like simple, something I could just do real quick, not 7-hour sound design type beats. So far it's drum and bass, New Jack Swing, Lil Baby type beat. I would love to do it, but drum and bass, I'm not studied enough on it. New Jack Swing will just take up way too much time because it's so groove based, and really that's really built for a hand drum. I don't have any hand drum machines on me. You got to really play by hand, that stuff. Can't really quantize that stuff in. Dang. Okay, y'all want me to make a beat, but y'all want the hardest genres known to man. Okay, so we're gonna have to come up with a compromise. Let's try. Trying to think of a compromise between DMB and New Jack Swing. I think what we're gonna have to do is actually end the live stream. I don't think it'll be valuable for me to make a beat actually, because it's gonna be too random and I can't predict the ending. So it's not going to be fun for the people watching the replay. But I do appreciate everybody for hopping in with me. I do appreciate you guys for being patient. Let's keep today moving. I got much more value to give you guys, so I'm going to end this here. Appreciate you guys. If you want to learn more, again, go to busyworksbeats.com/black. We have 80 courses in there. We have 4,000 sounds, from one shots to kicks to snares to hi-hats to stuff, all types of stuff, MIDI, presets, FL Studio plugins. It even includes how many plugins do I have now? I have Hercules, that's our main plugin, 340 sounds. I have Hypnos, that has 112 sounds, I want to say. We have Helios, which is a Serum 2 bank that has 100 some or 200 some presets in there. Then you got my new plugin, Halo 3D, which has like 275 sounds in it. So a lot of sounds, a lot of presets, a lot of sounds. Excuse me. So go to busyworksbeats.com/black to learn more. And I'll have a surprise by the end of the month. Can't say what it is yet. Some Griselda. I guess Griselda might be fire. Griselda's a little easy to me, so I just don't want to bore people. But let me try it. I got 10 minutes here on the clock. I'm going to do it in Logic though, because FL sounds a little small to me. All right, so let's make a Griselda style beat. Now in Logic, let's say you're in Logic workflow. It's pretty similar to FL. Once you learn the workflow, firstly, we need a drum break. So we got to go to our drum breaks. Again, I'd highly recommend the Drum Broker. They have a code. I just forget what the code is. I think it's BusyWorks is the code. It's either that or Busy 10. I forget the exact code. I want to say it's BusyWorks though. You guys get 10% off at the Drum Broker anytime you grab stuff. So Beat Butcher is very thorough in the genre. He even released a new pack called Beat Butcher Filth Volume 8. Let's do breaks. They usually will drag in like a drum break from Beat Butcher. It's got it. So to me, that's more of like a Griselda type sound. All right, so let's left click, drag this in. Now in Logic, we need to convert the file. So we have to upsample, I guess, because that's in 44.1. Now in FL, it's a little bit, I'm more intuitive in FL, but in Logic, basically, once you have something perfectly time stretched, you hit Alt, grab this little squiggly thing. And let's pull this down to what BPM? 77 is more of a Griselda BPM, somewhere around here. So this is super slow. Let's pull this back to 1 beat, 1 bar. So I'm not sure this is perfectly looped. That's why I said stuff gets a little tricky, but let's see if it loops. It's close enough, but it's not perfectly looped though. All right, so on the drum, we're gonna run it through a compressor. To add that smack, and then we can blend in that smack with the mix level. Let's also send this to a bus so we could add some spring reverb. That's the secret sound, is that reverb sound. Spring reverb. All you got to do is just send it to this plugin. You don't need to change anything. So that's how you get that bubbly kind of sound. All right, now we're gonna add some kind of creepy synth. Now normally I would just plug up my actual synthesizer, but we need kind of a synth that does random stuff. You don't normally want like a simple sawtooth sound. You want more like a textural type sound. Alchemy probably has some stuff in here. Let's just go to synth. Let's go to poly synth. Let's try sweep actually. Again, you want some kind of like drone sound. You don't want a typical. Something like that. So let's start with this sound. I like that. It's pretty dope. Now we're going to filter this because it's a little bright. See how it's not really like, it's supposed to be about the tone. Now here we're going to add a studio bass. Let's come up with a little riff. Just kind of repeating that pattern. Now we can filter that bass. So let's go back to this plugin here, classic 80s. Let's try that kilohertz technique where we add the pitch shifter. Let's take it off correlate mode so we could add jitter. Basically it's randomizing the pitch into a granular type sound. This sounds very subtle anyway. We need some kind of heavy, let's add some beat piano in here. Playing up and down the scale. So it's really about that lead note. That's all you need to worry about. So it's about those half steps that create that or that dark sound. All right, now let's send this to the bus, the spring verb. We could also try the pitch shifter on the keys. I don't know if this will see here. See how that's that droney sound. I'm gonna push this compressor a little bit harder. Let's open up standard clip. Clip these drums a little bit more. So the key is this kind of drone plugin and that spring reverb. That's what gives it that vibe. can't think of another instrument that would be on here. Maybe some kind of sample. What else is there to add, really? The studio strings, we could try this. So, I mean, this genre is kind of like whatever because it's a drum break underneath. It's like, what else can we really do but add instruments here? So we're not really teaching drum patterns here, funny enough. But sometimes the drum break is the best answer. Because it just has too many nuances of it that you can't really get with one shots. See how I changed that string? Another thing we could do is add like a room reverb to our drums. So let's try this. And my favorite is the Universal Audio Studio City. I don't have that anymore. Let me think what else could be a room reverb alternative. Let's just use Quantic Room Simulator. You could use any room reverb you like or impulse response. We're just going to use this because I don't have time to be thinking about all these little things. So now we're going to send the drums through like a space. So I'll play it before and after. Here's before. Here's after. Now it feels like it's in a room. It's another way to make your drum sound more realistic. All right, so now we have this. And the last thing you could do in Logic. Now this is really, I would recommend if you're producing at a higher speed, this is good. But if you're producing at slower speeds, this can be almost too slow. So let's call it vary speed. And I'm just gonna show you guys what it sounds like because it's too much to really go through. See how it got super slow. So my favorite for this one is this -1 semitone. You could also do plus, so it speeds it up like a soul sample. I think for this vibe, actually, +1's probably the best tone. I'm going to turn on this mode called flex mode so that we could lock in as we change tempos here. So I'm just showing you guys little touches here and there. I'm not going to sit here and make an entire album, but that's how you would kind of finesse that Griselda sound. So because we are out of time here, I want to thank everybody for watching. Go to busyworksbeats.com/black to learn a ton more about drum patterns, mixing, music production. I think I was off camera that whole time, wasn't I? Dang, y'all didn't tell me. It's all good. But music production, mixing, sound design, online marketing, all types of stuff. Go to busyworksbeats.com/black.